Raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens, bright copper kettles and warm woolen mittens, brown paper packages tied up with strings. These are a few of my favorite things.
Oh, Gary, how appropriate that is, because we're going to be talking about one of my favorite things here today. We're going to be talking about puppy dogs. Well, I guess maybe we'll talk about some kitty cats too or something, but mostly puppy dogs. Anyway, aloha and welcome to Maui Nonprofit Notes. Now in our 11th year of broadcasting, each week we continue talking story with Maui's nonprofit executive directors and staff to find out how they're working to support those with needs within our community. Maui Nonprofit Notes is generously sponsored by Pacific Source, so if you're building or remodeling a home, please stop by Pacific Source's cabinet and appliance showroom located in the Waikapu Base Yard. I'm Susie Tiemann, Executive Director of Lokahi Pacific, and your host for Maui Nonprofit Notes. During this hour, we're going to share, we're not going to share some of the experiences. We're going to talk about all the experiences that happen and go on with the Maui Humane Society today, and we are talking specifically with Rachel McGee, who's their behavior care manager. Is that for staff, or is that for clients, or is that for animals?
That's a great question. It's animals, but people are just as important as animals. We work together. Our animals don't really do well without their people, so it kind of covers a bit of both.
Good point. That's, sometimes we get into things and we don't realize, but how it all works together. Mm-hmm. And so it's great to have you on today, and going into the we're in the depths of the Christmas season, and I know that it's always a treat for some families to think about doing giving gifts of puppies and kittens to their family members, especially if they've got young kids.
Absolutely.
I've heard some people say you shouldn't do that. You should maybe give a gift certificate and let them come pick out an animal after the holidays. Uh-huh. Just because you don't want to give them something that they may not want.
It can go both ways.
Yeah.
It can totally go both ways. So it's actually statistically looking at shelter adoptions and returns. It's not as you would think. If you gift an animal, while it might not be the animal they would choose, usually once an animal's in a home, they're pretty good at winning the hearts of those that they live with. And so there's actually been quite a lot of success with the gifting of an animal for a gift, as long as that person is looking for an animal and can have an animal.
Yeah, right.
You might want to check that first. And then, but yes, obviously, if somebody has very, requirements that they would need a particular type of pet, it's probably better to gift them the adoption. So you could go either way depending on their needs.
I gotcha. I know, like at Easter, it always used to be a thing to give little chicks or bunnies, things like that. Yeah. And I knew several families who go, bunnies? Do you realize what you're asking for or looking at,
right.
Yeah. And they'd give them away as fast as they got them, right?
I'm sure, yeah. If you're not looking for a small critter, then maybe that wouldn't be such a good gift. They do get bigger.
Right. And they do multiply.
Yes, they do.
And somehow it's like, how'd that happen? Right? I got these two girl bunnies. It's not going to be a problem. Whoops. One of them wasn't, right?
Exactly.
So anyway, but that's good to know that it works both ways. Mm-hmm. Sometimes, and if you know the family well enough, or if you're mom and dad and you know what kind of an animal you'd be happy to help take care of, because if a child is getting this as a gift, we know mom and dad have got to be
absolutely
prepared for it. I've never heard of like grandma and grandpa giving a kid a gift of an animal.
Not sure. Sometimes the other way around. Sometimes, granny or grandpa might want a companion animal. Maybe they are by themselves and they could do with that and that companionship. So we've had it that way around before, which can work quite well, especially if the family are there to support the needs of the animal. So.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Never thought about that, but that's true. Mm-hmm. And especially now during the pandemic, I know you've had kind of an increase in in people looking for companions.
Yeah, it's been we've got two different sides through COVID. Definitely a need for companion animals, which can be some of the greatest support during difficult times. So we pet lovers know that.
Right.
And then also the struggles of having resources for the pets that they currently have. So that's kind of what we're here to also talk about today, I know.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's and sometimes we forget, that it does cost a family to have an animal.
Yeah.
Even if it's just food.
Yeah.
You can't give them table scraps every time.
Nope. Not if you want to have you might start bad habits that way. They'll soon refuse to eat their food. They'll just be waiting for table scraps. So not recommended so much.
Mine has this thing where he'll get just a few scraps. I'm
Nice.
sorry, I spoil him. Well, some people say it's not spoiling him, it's not good for him. But I would give him a few table scraps, and then he turns around, he walks right over to his dish and gobbles his food.
Nice. It's a little
It's like,
appetizer
whoa, yeah.
before his meal.
Yeah.
I say it's what works for you and your pet. So if you don't want your pet at the table when you're eating, and you only feed them in a different room, or only out of their bowl. If you like having your pup sit beside you politely, you've taught them a nice sit or a down, and you want to feed them a few treats here and there, and that works for you guys, then that is A-okay too. It's really about you and your pet and what works for you.
Right. And no two pets and no two families are alike.
Nope.
So the important thing is to get the right dog and a cat and with the right family, right?
Yes.
Yeah. But now, it's probably easier for a pet to change habits than for families.
Yes, that is true. That is actually, people are probably, we find it the hardest to change sometimes. Pets, we're a big influence in their lives. They don't get to do, make all the decisions. They do not have opposable thumbs. They need us very much. And so, yeah, it's really it's working with people to be able to change some of their habits sometimes to help the pets, because the pets can, they're day by day, they will work with you if you're willing to work with them.
Well, do we ever see a case where it's just too much to ask and the pet revolts? Do they have ways of showing, no, I'm not going to do it that way?
I think that's a great question. I think it's really getting to know your pet, cat, dog, chicken, bunny, and knowing what they are motivated to do, what they enjoy doing. When we train with animals, we really want it to be something that is fun for both parties. We don't want it to be a kind of regimented, I'm the strict teacher telling you what to do. We wouldn't like that. And also we want to make sure that we are pairing it with something they really love. So I would say if you had a pet that you were finding you felt was maybe stubborn, didn't want to do something you were asking of it, you might want to look at what you're offering in return. We all know we go to work and we get a nice paycheck, and would we do the same job if we didn't have a paycheck at the end of it? There's some enjoyment in your job is also part of that, but there are multiple factors, and the same for our pets. So we want to be able if we're asking them something, be sure that they understand what we're asking. Have we taught them that? If they don't speak English, so we have to teach them.
But they understand English.
They do. They can, which is amazing, right? That we can teach them. We're two different species, and yet we get to work together. And I think that's amazing that they can learn our language, and we can hopefully learn their subtle body language, which is their way of communicating with us, and that we are giving them, we're offering them choices as much as we can. So if you don't want to do this, what do you want to do? What can I offer you that will encourage you? And that's usually how you have better success. So
interesting.
Yeah.
Boy, I tell you, she's good at her job, isn't she?
Yes.
Yeah. And joining us in the studio, we have, I'm sorry, I forgot your name. Kristen. And you were on a couple of weeks or months ago.
Yeah. To talk about forever pets.
Right, forever. Oh, right. And that's one of the things we want to kind of tie into this whole thing. Now, when we talk about that you're the behavior care manager, this is a program that you guys are really just putting together.
Yes, it is
Getting
very
it
much,
started.
in its infant stages. We just started 6 months ago, maybe. We all know it's hard to keep track of this year, but it's months. It's very
Right.
very early stages. And we have this program really focused on initially looking at being able to really assess the needs of our animals in the shelter. So we're looking at when they come in, what are their individual needs, what do they like, what scares them, what can we help them with so that they can thrive in the shelter and then ultimately get a home a lot easier. The shelter can be a stressful place for many animals, so it's really trying to make it as comfortable for them as possible, while learning as much about them as we can so that we can place them into the right home. So we're not just, have a pick and see if it's a good fit.
Right,
we can actually help guide our adopters. So that's kind of part of it. And as I mentioned earlier, looking at even with your pets at home, we want to look at what the pets, what they like. We want to work with their senses. So dogs are very, their nose is their primary sense, and we forget that a lot because as people, it's very visual. We're visual beings. So we're looking at bringing in more what we call enrichment for our animals, cats and dogs, and that is in the form of nose work. So we have various different treats. We can heat things up. We have what we call, this is one of my favorite, a safari. So we'll pick our route that we're going to take our dog out on, and we might hide some heated hot dogs behind a rock. We might squirt some cheese or cream on a tree. We'll go along and we'll hide, maybe if they like toys, we'll also hide some toys in different places, kind of like a scavenger hunt for dogs, right? And then we'll go and get our pup, and we'll
some
go
of
and
the spots are high and some of the spots are low. And
yes,
they have to sneak around and find them all.
make it challenging.
Yeah.
And then we walk them through this path, and it's been amazing for the dogs that have never done this before. They don't get to use their nose as much, and we're actually encouraging them, and they look at you and they look at the thing they found like, oh my gosh, this is so fun. And you see them just relax, and then they're into the game, and that's it. Their nose is taking them fun places. And
at the beginning, they're like,
what are we doing?
At the end, they're like, I get it.
This is fun.
Do they get to eat the hot dogs?
They do. They get to eat that. We do have to be careful with that. We're out there before some of the chickens, because the chickens like this game too. So, and that's just one. I mean, there's lots of different fun games we play, but they also have some educational pieces in there for the animals. So if you're working on a dog, you could maybe be asking for, a sit or a wait before you start this game. It's really good for dogs that are very shy, very reserved. Maybe they've come into us, they're scared, they don't know us yet. We start playing games that make sense to them, and their confidence just grows, because they're out of their head. They're not just sitting there, not sure of what's going on. They're actually focused on this task that's very enriching for them. It's also good for dogs that are very reactive. We do get dogs in that will see another dog, and they might be barking and jumping. They might be excited and they want to play with the other dog, and they're frustrated. They might be scared of the other dog or cat or chicken or person. For whatever reason, they're reacting. And once they play games like this, they're so focused in that these things can be going on around them, and they're actually out of that scary, kind of fight or flight mentality, and they're focusing on this really enjoyable game. So it's kind of twofold. It's not, we don't have a stringent training, his or your, obedience. It's really, let's have some fun. Let's incorporate some basic behaviors that will help you in a home. So if you're a jumpy dog, let's not encourage that. Let's help you not be jumpy. Let's teach you some alternative behaviors, but we're always going to do it at your pace. We're going to reward you with the things that you choose, and we are going to have fun and grow your confidence, and then you will be ready for your new home. So
that's neat. On that note, we're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back.
Okay.
Aloha, this is Paul from Pacific Source. We'd like to wish everyone the happiest of holidays and thank you for your support over the years. Pacific Source has offered more of what builders and homeowners value most in building materials and cabinet design. We've done this by offering superior customer service and products, as well as by designing kitchens and baths that are intelligent and elegant while staying true to your vision and budget. Visit our showroom in Waikapu in Central Maui, where we display a variety of cabinets as well as top-name appliances like Sub-Zero, Wolf, Viking, KitchenAid, and more. We display countertops, tile and wood flooring, and several brands of windows and doors, including Fleetwood multi-slides and Lock and Tina folding doors. Maybe you can give your home a holiday gift that you'll love. Come in and talk to our designers about making your dreams become a reality. From concept to completion, we really believe our attention to detail and superior service are what sets us apart. Let us show you what we mean. We are Pacific Source at 515 East Oahe Way in the Consolidated Base Yard in Waikapu, just off Waiko Road. Call us at 986-0380 or look us up online at packsource.com.
Sleigh bells ring, are you listening? In the lane, snow is glistening. A beautiful sight, we're happy tonight. Walking in a winter wonderland. Gone away is the bluebird. Here to stay is a new bird. He sings a love song as we go along, walking in a winter wonderland.
He spoils me with all this Christmas music during the month of December. I just, I fall into it so fast, you know, the spirit of it all. Because he always comes up with the oldies but goodies. I don't know, you going to sneak any new stuff in this year? Uh-oh, he's shaking his head, yes. It's coming. All right. Anyway, this is Maui Nonprofit Notes, our weekly radio show. Today we're talking with the folks from Maui Humane Society, and we've got Rachel McGee, who's the behavior care manager, and she's brought along,
Kristen DeBlasi,
and she takes care of,
the Forever Pets program.
there we go, and that was something that was initiated just not too long ago.
About June.
June, you want to tell us the story behind that?
It was initially started as a response to the need of the community based on COVID. We saw how many people needed a little bit more support in keeping their pets at home because of, you know, losing jobs,
Right.
that kind of thing. So we started this program to help people out so that they didn't have to surrender their pets to the shelter.
Very good, very good. And we mentioned a little earlier that while we think of the usual adoption of a cat or a dog is basically you pay the adoption fee and that's it, you're ready to go. But there are costs. There are some vet visits that are going to happen on a sometimes a very regular basis, depending on the animal. And you certainly have to buy food for them. And that's primarily what you're helping them with the Forever Pets, right?
Right. We try to help monthly with food, but we can also help people with other basic needs. We help with dishes, flea medicine, leashes, collars, harnesses, cat litter.
Wow.
We've helped people feed their horses before. We've helped feed rabbits, bunnies, guinea pigs, birds.
Wow. And do they have to show a need or just say they have a need?
We ask people to be Pono, but we don't look for proof of hardship.
Right.
We just ask people that if they need help keeping their pets, that they give us a call.
Right. That's a great program.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure, like, you know, I said the one I just adopted, the family had brought him in that morning. And so he was a brand new show there. And, you know, you think, okay, they said they were moving and they couldn't take the dog with them. That could cover a whole lot of other issues that they didn't want to talk about, right? Which could have been what you're there to help with. Maybe they didn't know about it, or maybe they couldn't bring themselves to ask.
We're actually even trying to help people with that kind of thing. You know, if you're relocating and that it's just the expense that's stopping you from bringing your animal with you. We have somebody who's relocating to New Zealand right now, and she just couldn't afford to take her 2 cats with her, so she surrendered them to the shelter, and they're not doing so well. So I called her and said, hey, if we could help you take your cats with you, would you do it? And she was like, yeah, absolutely. So right now we're trying to figure out how to get those cats to New Zealand.
Wow.
that's the next
that's,
step.
you know, I'm sure there's some people out there who are saying, we're doing all this for animals. What about people? Well, there's so many agencies that are helping people that sometimes you can help people all you want, but there's still some problem with the animal, which is digging into the goodness of life for the family. And it's hard to say goodbye to a pet, and especially if it's because you can't afford to feed him.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's what that's why we've actually started working together, and I see us working together more and more, because some of those needs, they might be behavior, they might be, I just need some tips on how to, prevent my cat from not soiling out of his litter box, or from helping with my dog that's jumping at my guests that come round. And so Kristen and I have started working together to be able to help people. Some of those resources can cover many things. It could be an actual, tangible item, but it could be just having a conversation, giving some tips and tricks. It could be giving, again, in our future, being able to offer some classes, but even right now, maybe being able to help pay for a class, even outside of the shelter, being able to give, maybe they're struggling with some, their collar and leash, and we're able to give them a harness that can help a little better. There's lots of different ways, because we want to be in the business of helping the pets that really don't have a home. We certainly don't want to be taking pets from people that do have a home, and we are a resource to the community, and we do want to be there to help, but we want to be able to help ensure that they can be with their people if that is what's best for them. And I love that you mentioned looking at people as well as pets. They, for people that have pets, as you know, they're a huge part of your well-being, and so to lose them is actually detrimental to many people's health, their family dynamics. And so we absolutely want to be the place to help shelter those pets that need. But if there's anything we can do to help keep them home, we're certainly going to try. And so that's kind of that was why I wanted to bring Kristen in here, just to really give that message that don't be afraid to ask. Don't think there's no way they'll be able to help me with that. We can't promise the world, but we will certainly try our hardest, and we'll get creative. And the more needs that we know we have in our community, that helps us maybe look for different ways to get revenue for those needs. Right. So it just helps us grow as a community, and we really want to be that support for everybody. So that's why we are this combined force now to be able to do this.
And it seems like there's so many different granting programs out there that, like, there surely is something for everybody and every need. It's just a matter of finding it and being able to qualify to get it.
Right.
Yeah.
And you guys do a pretty good job of that. Yeah.
Thank you.
I keep seeing, I get the Friday e-letter, and they just got that. Oh, they just got this one. Whoa, here's 5. And you look at them, and some of them are 5,000, some 2,000 even. But you say put them all together.
Oh, it all adds up. From every little donation to the big grants that we can get, it all helps, and it's really knowing what our community need, and that's why we really want to encourage people to be able to go to the website, www.mauihumanesociety.org. Also, I want to offer our new email address, which is behavior@Maui Humane Society.
Oh, got your own. Okay.
We do. So if you're having concerns and you want to reach out, you're not quite sure where to turn, again, before you think I have to surrender my pet, reach out. You never know. I'm happy to help. Same with Kristen. It's forever pets, for the number ever pets at mauihumanesociety.org. And again, you don't know. You don't know what she's got some tricks up her sleeve. She might be able to make some magic happen too. And then together we can kind of offer both sides. So yeah.
I just hate the thought that somebody would give up a pet because there's an issue. I mean, sometimes there's multiple issues, and there's things you just can't overcome. The dog needs more room. You don't have a yard that they can play in, and so you got to find an alternative. That means you've got to spend more time with the animal someplace, like a doggy park or whatever, and maybe that doesn't fit into your schedule. So there could be some issues. Have you ever had anybody come in and want to trade?
It's funny. We've not. It's our Beach Buddy program. Occasionally, that's the program where we will have. It's predominantly tourists that would come here and take a dog out for the day. We've often had them say that they would trade their dog at home for one. That's the first that comes to mind, which is always funny to hear. No, I think we've had. On occasion we might have somebody come in and they're struggling and they might ask if they could surrender their animal and find a new one. It's not ever a simple trade out, and it may come across as that at first, but again, we're in the business of having conversations, open conversations with people. There's never any judgment. We want to really get to the bottom of that. So if somebody's saying, I want to, even if they're saying, I want to switch this dog for another one, we're going to chat with them and find out, what is it about this dog that's not working for you? What have you, give us a little bit of backstory, and then we can kind of figure out, because in some cases it really truly isn't a good fit, and then it's a miserable animal and a miserable family, and we don't want that. And it's okay to be able to realize that sometimes it just isn't a good fit. And so if we can find out that information, then we're better able to say, okay, well, can we help with XYZ? Yes, we can. Okay, great. And then you can keep your pet. Or it really doesn't sound like this is a good fit for you guys. That's really tough. So let's gather this information, and now we can bring this animal in. We know what they need because we're able to. We've chatted with you. We know more about them, and can find them the better fit. And then also we can maybe see who we have and who could be a good fit for your needs. So it might start off with, I want to switch, but it's going to be, there's going to be a little bit more to it after that. Yeah, just to make sure that we're really setting animals and people up for success.
Right, yeah. I mean, sometimes you have this, you see a cute dog in a commercial, and you think, oh man, that's the one I want. I just want that one. And they walk through the society's kennels there, and oh my gosh, there he is. And you take him home, right? And then he turns out to be, how'd they train him to do that commercial? Come on, there's no way this dog could do that. Well, it's not just the type of dog. There's some training, obviously, that goes with it, too. And sometimes people don't have the time or the energy or the wherewithal to get training and so on and so forth. And so it becomes a miserable situation. And that's just no good for either one of them. You're right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why I had to ask the question.
No, it's a great question because there really are cases where it's not your limits. You might love your pet and they love you, but if there's certain things you cannot change that animal needs, then as tough as it is, sometimes that's actually the kindest thing that they could do is say, you know what, I don't have what you need. I'm not going to be able to get it. If it's, yes, you're in a tiny apartment, you have no options of moving. We're not going to be able to, unfortunately, help get you a bigger place to live with a yard. So maybe that would be a case where you are kind of really limited. If you don't have the time to say, well, I'm just going to have to walk the dog 3 times a day because I don't have a yard. I mean, it all depends on the family and what if you're out jogging every day and you want an active dog, that's going to be a great fit. If you work long hours and you want to come home to a companion that's, this just needs that companionship with also that maybe is older or less mobile and just needs short little breaks, that's going to be a better fit. You wouldn't want to pair the person that works all the time with the animal that needs the,
right.
The
What about
heavy
getting
exercise.
2 animals?
2, yeah.
If you're gone all the time, should you have 2 at home?
That's a great question. There's never a simple black and white yes or no answer to any of these because, it depends on the dynamics. It depends on where they're living. And in some cases, having a second animal is a great companionship. They have each other. And so when you're not there, that's wonderful. For other animals, they don't like to be around other animals. And they really they like their people. Their people are their favorite species. They don't want to live with their same species or other furry animals. They just want to be the only furry pet in the home, and for them that would not be good if you wanted to get them a companion. So it's really kind of assessing the needs of the pet and also your needs. So if you are struggling with one pet, I wouldn't suggest you get a second because that's going to be double the cost of everything. So sometimes you can get creative and you can have, with a dog, you could have doggy play dates. Maybe you have your one dog they love other dogs. You're not in a position to get another one, but you know of some friends that have some dogs, and they're all playful and social, and you can go and have doggy play dates, and you can, so you can be creative about how you can. It depends on your lifestyle though, and what you're able to and want to provide. So
yeah, my neighbor tells me that my dog goes out on the upper deck and kind of lays there and waits for their dog to come to their deck, and they sit there and stare at each other.
And have their own play dates.
Yeah, and they're like they're each 2 years old.
Yeah.
But mine's 40 pounds and theirs is maybe 8. And but it's just the cutest thing. And then one day the 8-pounder got loose, and they found her down at the door where my dog is always watching people go up and down the street. She went to see him.
Oh.
I mean, it's like, hello, how perfect is that? So now we make sure that they get together every once in a while and don't have to stare across the yards. Yeah, just I mean, dogs are creative.
Yeah,
They're really cool. If you and I told her I was so glad she told me that story, because I thought, what does he do during the day when I'm not home? Well, now I know a little bit. Mostly, I think he sleeps out on the deck in the sun.
Yeah,
he loves that. But that I just think that's maybe
wonderful.
There's a certain time he knows she's out there. I don't know.
Awesome.
Dogs live their own lives, don't they?
They're fun animals to live with. It's definitely.
And I don't think a lot of cases I don't think we give them enough credit for being smart.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Yes.
They are so much smarter than. I mean, some of the stuff he does or responds to. We were talking about understanding English, the language. I mean, certain words: car, ride, walk, whatever, dinner time, whatever the case might be. But it's just, where do they get these? I mean, is it the inflection in your? Somebody told me once it's the inflection in your voice more than it is the word.
It depends. I think there's truth in that, and also you can train a new a word. It's really. Dogs are very visual, so usually what we'll do is we'll, to train any behavior, there's various ways, but once you've got the actual physical behavior, so say if we use to sit as an example, so bottom on the floor is the behavior, you would just maybe be given a reward every time that happened, whether you were using, a lure or whether you were just waiting for them to sit. And once you've got that behavior down where they understand that doing this thing gets a treat, which is so much fun for them, by the way, because it's like they actually have control of that. They're like, watch what I taught Mom when I put my bottom on the floor. I get a treat. She's great. I've trained her so well. And so they do that. And then when you have that behavior down, then you can usually you'll add a visual cue because they're so visual. So it's a hand signal or something. We can be a little confusing as a species. We're very animated. I know myself have to control hands and acting things out around animals because they're reading all of that I don't know what they're seeing in it, but it's a very confusing message, I'm sure. So we want to really be mindful of that. Once that you have a cue that you can use, then you can go ahead and insert a name for it. And so it doesn't matter what it is. You could your sit you could say crocodile. That's a quite long word, I wouldn't suggest that, but you could pick anything. The dog, it's not knowing a sit as the word, it's just something you say. And so that's how you do train them to actually understand a cue. But back to what you said about it being, your tone of voice, absolutely. It's, if you're saying sit and you're saying in this stern voice and the dog is kind of running off scared, it's not the word, it's the fact that you're saying that they understand your tone. They also really interestingly understand facial expressions too. So
well, the mask must be awful.
I'm sure it's making it trickier for them. Luckily, you can still smile with your eyes, so I would still encourage lots of smiles with your pets. But yeah, they read our facial expressions, our body, every little move we're making. They're reading us, and so we're actually communicating a lot more than we realize. So it can be a little confusing, but we can certainly teach them, and that is why we generally say with training we want to keep happy, upbeat, positive tone. If you're not having fun, just stop, because the second you start getting a little grouchy, it's no longer fun for you or for your pet. So that's definitely tone is a huge part of it. you could
Right.
be calling them the cutest name ever, and if you're saying it in a really stern voice, it wouldn't be so rewarding for them.
Peanut.
Yeah.
No.
You were such a
Hey,
cute boy.
Peanut, come here. Right? Yeah. Totally night and day.
Which
You're right.
actually, that's a great one. The one with people calling the dog to come, that can be, it's so simple, we don't think of it. But if we're calling them over and that, Peanut, get here now, and you're very angry about that, that's not particularly encouraging of the dog to want to come to you, as opposed to if you were a little bit, happier and
Hey, Peanut,
calling him
come here.
over and something fun was going to happen.
Yeah, right. Good point. On that note, we've got to take another short break, and we'll be right back with the folks from the Maui Humane Society.
Aloha, this is Paul from Pacific Source. We'd like to wish everyone the happiest of holidays and thank you for your support over the years. Pacific Source has offered more of what builders and homeowners value most in building materials and cabinet design. We've done this by offering superior customer service and products, as well as by designing kitchens and baths that are intelligent and elegant while staying true to your vision and budget. Visit our showroom in Waikapu in Central Maui, where we display a variety of cabinets as well as top-name appliances like Sub-Zero, Wolf, Viking, KitchenAid, and more. We display countertops, tile and wood flooring, and several brands of windows and doors, including Fleetwood multi-slides and Lock and Tina folding doors. Maybe you can give your home a holiday gift that you'll love. Come in and talk to our designers about making your dreams become a reality. From concept to completion, we really believe our attention to detail and superior service are what sets us apart. Let us show you what we mean. We are Pacific Source at 515 East Oahe Way in the Consolidated Base Yard in Waikapu, just off Waiko Road. Call us at 986-0380 or look us up online at packsource.com.
God rest ye merry gentlemen, let nothing you dismay. Remember Christ our Savior was born upon this day to save us all from Satan's power when we were gone astray. Oh, tidings of comfort and joy, comfort and joy. Oh, tidings of comfort and joy. From God our Heavenly Father, this blessed angel came, and unto certain shepherds brought tidings of the same, how that in Bethlehem was born the Son.
And we are back. This is Maui Nonprofit Notes, the weekly radio show where we talk story with our agencies and their leaders and their staff and find out what's happening in their world. Today we're having a kind of a fun time, I think. Of course, anytime we're talking about my dog, it's always fun. And I hope that those of you out there who are animal lovers and have your own animals and feel the same way. I know that for a couple of months I was without an animal friend, close friend, and going home wasn't fun because there was nobody there to greet me, and I missed that. And you can't replace a loved one, a loved animal, but you can certainly get a companion that makes their own place in your heart. Anyway, so getting back to talking story here about behavioral issues, both for people and animals, and they kind of have to work together because if we work at cross purposes, nothing works.
No, absolutely, and that's the same for us at the shelter. We are predominantly animal centric. We house animals, but we are equally there for people, and I think that's a big part of our message today is just that we are there for our community of animal lovers. We are unable to care for every single pet on Maui as much as a lot of our staff would definitely give it a shot. We would try, but we cannot. We need to be a team. We need to work together to be able to support one another and help. And so we actually, just recently, we have an example of how Kristen and I work together with a pet. His name is Bron. Some of you guys may have seen him on our website. He's a beautiful big guy that had been with us for quite a while. He is very dog reactive. He did not like being in the kennels, as you can imagine. I mean, you've got dogs beside you and in front of you, and so he struggled to get adopted because he was big and he was barking and he's strong and a lot of people, they rent, and they, even if they love him, they couldn't adopt because of where they live. So there was a lot of barriers for Bron
And even taking him for a walk is not the easiest thing
No,
to do.
no. He also has arthritis in his back legs, and so he's got some medical stuff going on. And so we were as creative as we could be in trying to promote him. He's a staff favorite, but months were going by, and he's still with us. He's actually, we ended up getting one of our wonderful foster dads took him and to give him a break from the shelter and has been fostering him. So really kind of scratching our heads at what can we do for Brun so that he's not living in foster for the rest of his life, because poor foster dad does need to get back to his own life too and helping other animals. We Forever Pets were able to reach out to the original owners who we originally were having to move off island, and that was their reason for surrendering. So very much a loved dog, but again, circumstances were tough, and we were planning on seeing where they were in the world and seeing
send him there.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And he's a big dog, so it wouldn't be an easy feat, but we were determined to try and see. So we reached out, and it turns out, change of events, they actually were able to stay on Maui, and they didn't, they didn't know that we still had him. I mean, it's got to be so hard for people to have to say goodbye to their pets. Some people, they don't check in because it's too
Right.
painful.
Yeah.
So they were very happy when we called to say we do still have Brun actually, and we want to help. What do you need? So you're still on Maui. What do you need? Tell us. So we had the owners come in and meet with Brun. It was a beautiful reunion, and we worked with them to see what they need, and we've got quite a list of things that we're able to help with. But he will be going home this coming week, so
To
this
his
is
parents.
to his original family.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, how cool.
So there's a lot of supplies there and some training tips and techniques, but really the big thing is that they have buy-in. They already love this dog, so we're not trying to convince somebody that's just met him that once you'll get to love him. In the meantime, here's all the things he needs. They're already in love with him, so they want to. They just didn't have the resources, and so we've been able.
So we were able to help them provide the resources, and Rachel's able to help provide more of the training tools.
How old a dog?
He's about 5, I believe.
Okay,
4 or
so they had
5.
him for a little while.
They had him from a puppy. We actually have his puppy picture of them adopting him. Yeah, which is very sweet.
Oh, it came in as part of a litter?
No, I think he was he was a bigger puppy. He was about
Okay.
6 months, I believe.
Okay.
You could already see in the picture of him going home that he was very leggy. He was going to be a big boy. So so that's we'll be sharing more of his story as it progresses.
Cool.
But that was
But that's
just wanted
happy
to
for-
give an example
Happy for
of
both of them, I hope.
yeah.
Yeah, interesting. And sometimes there is a dog that's just that special.
Yeah.
So it's got to be hard when, like, he was there for a long time. I know you have, when I was in there looking, it looked like there were several older dogs that maybe had been there for a long time. You had a lot of big dogs.
Yep.
Small dogs are hard to come by.
Yeah. It's, I think, a big reason here, like we mentioned earlier, is there are restrictions on pet sizes in a lot of rentals. And so if you're renting and you want a pet and you have a 20-pound limit, you get a cat, a bunny, or a little dog. You kind of, your options are limited somewhat. And so that definitely is a big barrier. And so it can definitely be hard for the bigger ones. The seniors can be a little harder to get adopted because maybe they have some medical, or sometimes people are afraid that if they get them at a more mature age that they're not going to be able to train them, which is definitely not the case.
Right.
You can teach an old dog
You
new
can,
tricks.
huh?
But then for some people, that's what they come in and look for, because they look at a senior as, oh, I don't have to go through the puppy training, and
Right.
they already, maybe they came from a home, their house broken, and they already know a few things, and they're just mellow. Again, back to that,
Right.
A person that wants that works a lot and wants a companion that doesn't need the crazy long walks and exercise
Right.
and
Lap dog.
your lapdog, exactly.
Sit
that
next
could
to me
be
and watch the movie.
your
Yeah.
Netflix,
Yeah,
show
right.
buddy. I think there's a lot of those needed during this time.
Yeah.
We should have used COVID to promote senior pets.
They and I did. I thought about that too. Because I can't spend a whole lot of time well, I not that I can't, I don't.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think I've solved the problem with the people I have working with him. But I thought, get an older one who's more relaxed. Mine was 19 when we lost him. And I thought, oh man, I just went through that. I can't do that again. And with a bigger dog, you don't know. Is 12 the limit? 13, 14?
Yeah.
So do I want a dog in my life for a year and then I go through all this again? Because I get attached fast. I know that. I fostered one for 2 weeks, and when he was adopted, no, but he was a jumper, so it was okay. That you can have him, okay. But still, I mean, he looked at me like, "What are you doing? You're not taking me home?" Oh gosh. But that's what happens when you start on that wheel of animals.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because they do have a much shorter lifespan than any of us. It's not unusual. I mean, you probably see in your records and stories that have been told, people have adopted maybe 4 or 5 animals, and they've all lived good lives, and just it's a course of nature.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very sad case that they don't live as long as us. On the other side, the fact that they don't means that you get to experience many more amazing animal personalities in your life. I think even just for us at the shelter, the amount of, they're all individual and they all come with their own wonderful personalities, and even if they have challenges, getting to know them and understand where they're coming from and what they need is a beautiful thing. And I think even for pet parents, as sad as it is when your pet does pass, and some people they need that whole field right away, and some people need time, and there's no right or wrong. It's what's right for them. But opening your heart out again, even though ultimately will be broken at some stage, it's just worth it every time. I think it's.
We have a cockatoo in my family that's going to live 80 years.
Oh, really?
We have an African sulcata that's going to outlive us too.
Really?
Yes.
I mean, is that how long they live? 80?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Woo.
So don't buy someone a cockatoo as a gift.
Right.
This Christmas.
Not unless you know for sure that's
that
what they're looking for.
their kids will want it.
Yeah.
Or an African sulcata.
Oh gosh. Wow, that's interesting. That's a long time. But they don't do anything. I mean,
they're crazy. It's like having a puppy.
Is it?
Oh yeah. A badly behaved
You don't
2-year-old.
don't take it for a walk.
No.
Do they fly off?
She's clipped.
Oh, okay.
But she runs around the house, hops around.
So you
climbs
don't have
everything.
a dog in the house then?
No.
Yeah, okay.
Lots of foster kittens.
Cats and cockatoos, okay. Dogs and nah. Right?
Right.
It depends.
Yeah.
It depends. Yeah.
It could work. Depends on the dog.
How big is a cockatoo?
About a foot tall.
A foot tall, how many pounds? Not many.
2.
2. But it's the size. If you had a toy dog, that might work.
I'd say it's the disposition of the dog.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd even go for that or not. That could be a scary homecoming someday after work. Oh, shame on me.
It's socializing pets early on in their life, whatever the species is important for the, if you want to, have cross species in your home, really.
Well, I know people who say that, they get a pet and then they have a baby. And it's like, oh, we did this all wrong. Well, the dog's used to being the center of attention. Now the baby is.
Yeah.
Will the dog accept this, or will we have some problems? Do we have to be careful that the baby's laying on the floor? Where's the dog? Where's the dog? Is that real, or is that all in our minds?
No, I definitely would highly advise that children and dogs and animals are never left unsupervised. It doesn't matter the history you've had with your animal, how well they are around children that they've met, that it's just not advised, because children don't know animal body language, and they are at the right height to be walking into, to be pulling, prodding. It's just safest to always have an adult there to manage them. And then as far as preparation, if you have a pet and you know that you're pregnant and you're going to be having a baby coming soon, because they don't seem to know the pregnant part. It's once the baby's there. There are things you can do to prepare your pet for that. So it's not such a shock. You can you can start to work with them and get them used to what will be coming. And there's various ways that you can do that. But we can share those resources if anybody needs them.
Yeah, right.
I know we're running out of time.
We give you a call or an email and say help. Right.
But the answer is yes. There are ways that you can absolutely prepare your pet for a new arrival.
That sounds like a class you could have. Right?
Could be. Yes, if there's a big enough need, we can do that.
I wonder what the demand is for that.
Interesting. I'll bet there is a demand. People just don't want to admit it.
I'm sure. I mean, it would be better to prepare for that than have that potentially sad day when you realize it's not working and you have to surrender your pet.
Right.
It would definitely be,
Pet baby.
Well, you're talking to the wrong people.
I'm going to say, I have 8 foster cats and no children, so.
Oh, shoot, they got it made.
Yep. 2 dogs that taught us no kids. We're not the right people to talk on this.
We got to wrap this up. Is there anything you want to say to make sure? I know we gave out the website. We gave out the behavior at MauiHumaneSociety.org.
Yep.
Email
foreverpets
at MauiHumaneSociety.org.
Yeah, just if you have any pet needs before surrender, reach out to us. Just ask. Don't be afraid to ask. We can likely help in some capacity.
The motto is ask before you surrender.
Yep.
Please.
There you go. Very good. Hey, you guys, Merry Christmas to you. Stay safe, stay healthy, and keep up the good work.
Thank you, Susie.
I look forward to the next year and talking more about how this is working.
Thank you.
Okay,
Merry
thank you
Christmas.
much. Thank you very much. Maui Nonprofit Notes is a show. Let's start that over again. Maui Humane I'm doing their show, okay? Maui Nonprofit Notes is sponsored as a community service by Pacific Source, the builder's choice. Please give them a call at 986-0380 or stop by their showroom in the Waikapu Base Yard on East Oahe Way to see how they can help you with your building project. Pacific Source has been our sponsor from day one, and we thank them so much for their 11 years of support. To you, our listeners, we want to thank you also for the responses our agencies get from you regarding the activities that we talk about on this program. See, it's going to take me a little while to settle down. We've been talking about animals here for an hour. I've got the animal mentality going here, and animals don't read too well, right? Okay, so I'm trying to read the script. The Maui Nonprofit Directors Association's mission is to provide personal and professional support to nonprofit executive directors, their organizations, and the community of Maui. Please visit our website at MauiNonprofit.org to see a list of member agencies and click on one if you see something that interests you. As we said earlier, we've been talking with the folks from the Maui Humane Society about behavior. And that's our dogs, our cats, our birds, our fish, our chickens, all of those kinds of things. And once in a while we get a little piece of putting human behavior in the picture. We want to thank you all for joining us today. We will be back next week, same time, same place, when we'll have 2 agencies on to talk about what they're doing. Oh, I love the music. I just want to enjoy the music. I'm going to wrap it up so you can enjoy the music. How's that? We'll be right back next week, same time, same place. Until then, I'm Susie Tiemann, Executive Director of Lokahi Pacific, and your host for Maui Nonprofit Notes. Thank you all for joining us today. Stay safe, stay healthy, and let's have a Merry Christmas and a great week, everyone. Aloha.